Hi everyone, it's Emmett from Little Big Bite, one of the developers behind Cup Encounter. This week we have been busy building out our world and starting to test some of our core systems and making sure it all works properly in the main game world. We have also begun significant progress in building out the player's apartment that you'll be able to decorate in the game. The first part of this week was actually dedicated to making our traffic light system affect the world. For the system to work properly, we needed traffic to actually know to stop, as well as pedestrians to know that they have to wait for their light to go green before they can actually cross. Getting the cars to stop at the crossing was incredibly easy, as all we needed to do was spawn a random blocker that they knew to stop with. The pedestrians, however, was much more complicated. While we could have just simply got them to pause their pathfinding temporarily, it looked kind of stupid, as most of the NPCs would end up stacked upon each other. Instead, this system needed to take control of the NPCs and cause them to line up a bit more neatly. While this system took a fair bit of work, we are pretty happy with the end result. The pedestrians properly line up and they wait patiently for their turn to cross. Once the core system was working, most of the work went into tweaking values to ensure that pedestrians would have enough time to cross before traffic started up again. To make this act more like we have here in Australia, the pedestrian stop light begins to flash roughly when you should have stopped crossing. You still have a few pedestrians that will leave last second and just get across right before traffic begins again. Once the traffic light system was up and running, we decided to focus a bit more time checking over our NPC model generation. We spent a lot of time last week optimizing stuff that we ended up just having to delete, so we just wanted to make sure everything was still generating correctly and still being somewhat performant. We are pretty happy with the amount of unique variations that we're getting out of this system, but it does still need some work. Sometimes the random cannot really be truly random, which is kind of the core issue of it. To help improve this and actually make the pedestrians a bit more useful later on, we plan on assigning every NPC a name, and that name will be used to generate their random seed, which will then be used to generate how they look and what they wear. After verifying the NPC generation was still working properly, there was another thing that kind of bothered me about our characters, and that sometimes they could feel very expressionless. With this update, we implemented core features so that we can actively control how the character will express themselves, such as feeling sad, happy, or irritated. Additionally, we added some additional subtle animations to their face. For example, the eyes will slightly move around instead of just blankly staying straight, as well as the eyebrows will shift ever so slightly. These subtle changes help, in our belief, make the characters feel a lot more alive. Once this was complete, we decided to put more focus back into some of the core gameplay systems that will affect the day-to-day play. One of these is our delivery system. The original version of this system would just simply spawn the boxes outside the back of your cafe. But to add a bit more feel to the game, we decided to actually properly add a delivery van. The initial version of this just had the boxes magically appearing. We then improved this further by adding an NPC that would actually walk and deliver the items to the position. Depending on the number of items you have ordered, the NPC will have to make multiple trips to complete the delivery. The initial version of the system was a bit of a disaster due to the way we were spawning in the boxes. It ended up just a giant pile that also kind of flung the NPC around the world. We now use more of a grid system and the stack height to calculate it rather than just spawning it all in one spot and hoping the physics will take care of it. While there are still some slight issues such as the NPC liking to walk through the van, we are pretty happy with this current version of the delivery system. After getting this working, my next focus was cleaning up some of the core functionality that we relied on for Cup Encounter. The current challenge is making our placement system, with the way you place chairs and various other props down, actually feels good to use. I'm not super happy with the control system that we have around this, but here's an example of how it will look within the game world. The actual placement is starting to feel alright and the grid snapping is about right, but the main issue we have is how you decide whether to pack something down. We also have a bit of a mess, especially with the box system, is when we decide what mode you are in. Are you in placement for the box itself, or are you in placement mode for the furniture that's in that box? If you have any feedback or suggestions on a good way to improve this, we're always happy to hear people's suggestions. I'm still trying to decide whether we just make everything convert automatically to a box when you pick it up, or whether we just improve it so instead of having a mode for the box, it's just tied to the global system. So you only have one button that switches between furniture placement mode and just normal mode. A lot of work this week has also been going into the visual side of our game. For example, we have remodified our sink so it's only a single base sink with a proper place to put down cups and stuff on the right hand side of it. And then we've also added things such as actual water particles coming out of the tap. The plaza has again seen several improvements this week, with this time the addition of a central garden to it, as well as different paving to break up the overall look. We are pretty happy with how this is looking, but there's still some minor changes that we'll need to make before we are completely finished with it. If you have any suggestions about how you would like this to look, feel free to leave a comment below. On top of the plaza work, we have done a fair bit of improvements to the outside facade of the buildings. For example, with some of the larger buildings, we have added an awning to them to add extra cover, as well as break up the flat look of the buildings. In addition to the awnings, we have also been working on different window treatments to help make them stand out and look a bit different, as well as suit our more vibrant world a bit better. These range from simple thicker trimming to additional things like flower boxes. While there's still some work to go, we are very happy with the result that we have managed to achieve so far with these simple additions. This week, we have also begun significant work on adding the apartment building to the top of the cafe. This is where your player will live and also will give you a place that you can decorate and make your own. We're still a bit early on in this part of the project, but it shouldn't take us long before we have something more fruitful to show you. But for now, here's what the stairs up to the building will kind of look like, as well as the lobby area. The current plan for the lobby area is to add a bit of functionality, such as a place where you'll receive packages for your personal home, as well as mail. Some of these we're not sure whether we'll completely implement, but it is still very much a work in progress. If you found this video to be interesting, be sure to like and subscribe. And of course, wishlist Cup Encounter on Steam. Be sure to check in again next week to see the further improvements that we have made to our game and get it closer to release. Until next time, have a good one.